So your team has spent the last 2 weeks researching a problem and coming up with a sustainable solution. Now it's time to see if other people think that you're really onto something. This is going to account for the share portion of the engineering design process, and you will have to create 2 different platforms to demonstrate what you have learned and what you have created. The first is going to be a PSA video. A PSA video is like a public service announcement. So first things first, you have to convince the public that you're actually solving a problem. You will need to highlight the problem in the community and tell what is the call to action to solve this problem. Your team is going to try to convince the community to get involved and buy in. This is going to be a video that could go out to the public as a PSA, a public service announcement. You will be scored on the following. The video must be no more than 2 minutes. The video must entice the community to involve themselves or buy in. And that the videography must be edited, the sound must be clear, and the video must be public ready. So this is more than what we've done in the vlogs in the past. This is something that you guys have to make sure that you are addressing the requirements and making sure that your sound is clear and your video is nice. You will also have to come up with a live pitch. So your team is going to have to present in front of actual judges. You will need to convince the judges to invest in your plan or product. You will have 2 minutes to make your pitch to the judges. Think of this as your Shark Tank pitch. You can format it however you'd like and use whatever type of visual aid you would prefer, but you will be scored on the following. Your pitch must be no more than 2 minutes long, and you're trying to convince the volunteers to join the initiative or the funders to invest. So you're trying to convince the judges to invest in what you're doing. After your PSA video is shown in front of the entire class and the judges, and you have completed your live pitch and the judges have scored you accordingly, you will then go under a team Q&A. The judges will have the opportunity to ask your team questions for up to 5 minutes. They will then score your team based on the following criteria. Your team must demonstrate an understanding of the engineering design process. Your team must speak about topics from a Christian worldview and use scriptural truth. And your team must answer the judges' questions clearly and concisely. All of your team members must contribute to this presentation. So even though you might not have time for all of your team members to be part of the live pitch, every single one of them will have to be part of the Q&A. This is the rubric from which you will be scored by the judges for your live pitch and your video. You will see that the length of your pitch is included, as well as your professionalism during the pitch. You also must convince the funders to invest, as we talked about. The PSA video also must be no more than 2 minutes in length. It must be clearly edited, have the sound good and ready to go for the public. And your PSA video has to be community focused and entice the community to be called into action. You will earn points based on whether you meet the criteria, you are above the criteria, or not so much. And then you will be given a total score. You will also be scored on your Q&A. So you should demonstrate an understanding of human-centered engineering. So this is the idea that you're able to connect with others and actually meet the need. So you empathize with others, you create new ideas, and you're able to perfect those ideas through iteration, which is like repetition. You also must have clear description of the scriptural truth behind the project related to your challenge. You will be scored also on your communication. So as you answer questions, your overview should be clear and concise and actually answer all of the judges' questions. And as we also mentioned, all of your team members must contribute to this part of the presentation, to the interview. And clearly, they all must have participated in the process. So you get scored based on whether or not all people really know what's going on or not. So for the rest of today, I need you guys to put together a plan of what you want your PSA video to be and what you want your live pitch to be. So before you go out and start filming, before you go out and just creating vlogs like we've done in the past, you need to come up with a plan. This is not something where I send you out and for 44 minutes you guys go out and create a 2-minute video on campus. You guys need to have a plan because you have specific things and goals that you need to meet, specific requirements and goals that you need to meet during the video and during the pitch. You need to figure out who's going to be talking, what are the most important points that need to be brought up, how do you get community buy-in, how do you convince funders to invest, How do you want to make sure that you are professional? Do you want to have any sort of visual aid during your live pitch? These are all things that you need to be thinking about and answering today. So today you will not leave the classroom. You will not be filming. You will have the rest of the week to work on that. And for today, you guys need to come up with a plan so that when you come into class for the rest of the week, you know what you need to do. So if you have any questions, make sure to talk to your teacher.